We're a quarter of the way into the season and some teams are already looking to make some trades, and that is exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. I'll be giving you my thoughts on certain players the Oilers have been linked to, and I'll actually tell you if there's any traction to this or not. And then I'll also be listing off some players that I personally would love to see join the Orange and Blue. So, if you're new to the channel, we're on the road to 6K subs, guys, and I would seriously love to hit that by the end of the year. If you could help me out, that would be just amazing. So as always, drop a comment down below as I literally read every single one, and leave a like as it really does help out the videos. But with that out of the way, let's get back into this video. First off, John Gibson. I just want to shut this down because I know there's a lot of speculation regarding this player, and I just want to say that there is no way this is happening. This is the Oilers goaltending, whether you like it or not. It got them to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final last year, and they're going to look to do the same this year as well. So, with that out of the way, let's move on. Jacob Trouba. This player is most recently on the market, and he actually does check off a lot of boxes if you are the Oilers management. He's right shot, experienced, he's a leader, and physical. However, he's an American and has already played for a Canadian team in which he requested a trade from, so the chances of this are very unlikely. And when he's coming in at 8 million AAV, I mean, you're not really wanting to spend. I mean, the Oilers don't have that much money to spend. There's no way. Like, that in and of itself is a no-brainer. Yes, this should be shot down right away. And also, this guy in the playoffs is kind of like Nazem Kadri. He's one hit away. You know, when you need him most, he's going to make a stupid hit. He goes out there, he hits to injure most of the time. He's been suspended. So this isn't really a guy that you want, and he's kind of like the Eastern Darnell Nurse. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on social media and just seen people ripping him apart because of his defensive play. So for all those reasons, yeah, this isn't happening. Next up, Colton Parayko. Okay, this has been a rumor since the dawn of time. Yes, he's a right shot. He does have ties to Edmonton as he was born and raised in St. Albert, but this also ain't happening. 6.5 AAV. I remember growing, I'm still growing up, but we're like 5 seasons shy from, you know, he'd be so good with Darnell Nurse. He'd be perfect with Darnell Nurse. Like, this isn't happening. Yes, the St. Louis Blues, could they trade him? Most certainly. You know, they don't look like they're going to be competing for a cup anytime soon. They probably will be sellers by the trade deadline. I mean, the Oilers, they don't have the assets to pick up a Colton Parayko. They don't. And coming in at 6.5 AAV, the Oilers would have to get really creative if this was a player that they were serious in getting. But I'm shooting this down. I'm shooting it down hard. There's no way this is happening. Would I like to see Colton Parayko on the Oilers? Obviously. I think that would be ideal to have him and Darnell Nurse. It would be cool to see what those guys could do. But I don't see it happening. Hence, therefore, I should say it's not happening. Okay, next up, there actually is some serious traction on this, whether you like it or not. David Savard of the Montreal Canadiens. First off, he's a right shot, he's physical, he's fairly cheap, coming in at 3.5 AAV. And you look at the team that he's on, the Montreal Canadiens, they most definitely will be sellers by trade deadline. So you look at his DB, does he have the most fancy numbers or the sexy numbers, if you will? Absolutely not, but this is a guy that knows what he's doing. He's experienced as well. He can play physical. He's pretty decent in a shutdown role, so I know it's not the most sexy name, and personally I'd be pretty annoyed if I was an Oilers fan, which I am, and this was the guy that was supposed to fix everything. First off, you kind of already got 3 players like him, and coming in at 3.5 AAV, I'd rather trade more assets to get a $4.5 million defenseman that is like the gap in the NHL right now from 3 million to like 4.5 million is quite substantial. And the players that I'm going to list off here that I would love to see the Oilers try and get for just $1.5 million more, $2 million more. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. So personally, if you're going after a guy that's 3.5 AAV, I would rather the Oilers go for a guy at, you know, just under 5 million and be willing to spend, you know, a few more assets to get that player. And like I said, like, is this guy really going to move the needle a heck of a whole lot? No, not really. He's not doing that on Montreal. You think he's going to do the same for, or you think he's going to do that and more on the Oilers? No, like, I really don't like that. I'd be pretty bummed out if they got David Savard, but that is a player that they are actually linked to, so I don't know. Time will tell on that. Okay, right on. And if you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you for all the continued support. But starting off, and this is a player that I don't know if I would like to see him on the Oilers. Personally, he is actually the most hated player. I can't stand this guy, but it does make sense. And if you have to look past all the stuff he's done, and he hasn't really done that much stuff, but just because he is on the other side of the Battle of Alberta, we're looking at Rasmus Andersson, who's a right shot defenseman, coming in at 4.5 AAV. And I mean, you look at the stats that he's been able to put up, not just this season, but previous seasons as well. He's very responsible in his own end. He can make a good, quick up, a really good first pass. He's offensive minded, but he is actually a very smart defenseman as well. He can skate good. Quite frankly, this is what I'm talking about. You're like, the separation gap between David Savard and Rasmus Andersson is only $1 million, yet the skill is far more than that. Rasmus Andersson is a hell of a better player than David Savard. He's a lot younger too, and if the Oilers did acquire this guy, yeah, they'd have to give the Flames a lot more than, if they were to get David Savard, but I think it would be well worth it, and he does have 1 year left on his contract as well, so obviously the Oilers management would have to be super creative with if they were able to get this done. But I mean, 4.55 AAV for Rasmus Andersson or a 3.5 AAV David Savard. I mean, it's $1 million difference, but you get way more bang for your buck with the Rasmus Andersson. So personally, I would love to see them go that route. I know it would be tricky because the Oilers are so against the cap, but this guy actually checks off so many boxes, and it would be really cool to see him on the orange and blue. And oh gosh, it pains me to say that, it really does. Okay, next up, this is a player that I freaking love, and I know Bob Stauffer came out about a week and a half ago saying the player that the Oilers are gonna get is a very under the radar player, and I don't think anyone really has this player on their radar. He's an absolute stud. He shoots left, but he can also play on the right side as well. His skating is excellent. He's got a great first pass. He's got great offensive numbers, and he's playing on a terrible team. So the numbers that he was able to put up last year are just so under the radar good. And I know it would be so crazy if the Oilers were able to pull this thing off. I don't know if they'd be able to do it, but with that out of the way, Mike Matheson of the Montreal Canadiens. This guy's an absolute stud. He put up 62 points last year in 82 games played, 11 goals, 51 apples. Like, that is really, really impressive, especially because no one really knows who this guy is. But I can confidently say I've been watching a lot of Habs games this year. I love Lane Hudson. He's going to be an absolute stud in the league. He's already an absolute stud in the league, and he's a rookie. So I've been tuning in to watch him, but majority of the time I'm glued to watching Mike Matheson. The puck just follows him. He knows the right play like every single time. And when the Oilers played the Montreal Canadiens about just over a week and a half ago, Mike Matheson it was his job to shut down 97 Connor McDavid, and he did exactly that. He skates so well. And there was a few plays where McDavid tried going around him, he was so good with his stick. So he's got really good offensive numbers, but defensively he's sound. He's very sound. So if they could pull that off, oh gosh, like watch out. Like that would actually be so insane. Mike Matheson coming at 4.875 AAV, which again, I know it seems like a lot, and it's because it is a lot, but when you're looking at the guy, David Savard, 3.5 AAV, you're looking at $1.3 million more. And it's substantially more of a player you're getting with Mike Matheson than you are David Savard. So it'd be willing to spend those, several assets more to get a player like Mike Matheson than to get another 3.5 AAV guy. Yeah, so you can see a trend that I'm going with here. The Oilers need a defenseman. They 100% need a defenseman. And another thing is, like, if Brett Kulak gets injured, like, the Oilers defense is already very thin, and they're one injury away from just having like just terrible defense. If Darnell Nurse gets injured, you want someone to step up. Is it going to be David Savard? Or, you know, like he's not going to step up. That's why I would really like it if they could go for a player like Matheson or Rasmus Andersson. Is it going to happen? Probably not. It's probably not going to happen. And that's the fun of this video. I just wanted to have some fun. It's a hypothetical world. It's a dream scenario. Okay, and lastly, this one's kind of funny, but I had to talk about this, and it's kind of sad, but it would be cool. We're looking at Taylor freaking Hall. I had him on the thumbnail, and he's coming in at 6 million AAV, but the Taylor Hall Redemption Tour, I mean, wouldn't that just be satisfying? I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, he's a locker room cancer. Have you looked like who the Oilers have on their team? Like, they have Evander Kane. Like, when Taylor Hall was a rookie and people were calling him a locker, but they're like defending Evander Kane and like he's almighty, and he's like it's just I hate that argument that Taylor Hall's a cancer or whatever, locker room cancer. It's like you have Evander Kane on your team, and not once have I ever heard oh, he's a locker room cancer. It's like they defend him like crazy, but the rookie, the 18-year-old Taylor Hall, who came here and didn't really help the organization like was planned, the fans just turned on him. I don't know. I don't get it. But Taylor Hall, he's struggling this year, and he's struggling mightily. That's kind of why change of scenery might be coming for Taylor Hall. He was a healthy scratch like over a week ago, which was pretty sad, man. Like, this is a former Hart Trophy winner. He had 93 points that year. And he's just, I don't know, man. He's just place after place. He then went to Arizona, Buffalo, Bruins, now Chicago. But 20 games played, 6 points. Yikes, that's too bad. So I know he's coming in at 6 million, but like, say if the Oilers gave, I don't know what they'd have to give, but some salary cap would have to be retained. But if Chicago's thinking like, oh no, we've got a Hart Trophy winner on our hands, like, that's not the case. Taylor Hall is not that player anymore, which is too bad. It really is too bad, because this is a player that I loved growing up, and unfortunately he's not that player anymore. But that's what I'm saying. You don't really have to give that much to get a player like Taylor Hall. And if Chicago is able to retain some salary, hey, Chicago, could you do that? That would be awesome. But I don't know. Drop a comment down below, guys. What player would you like to see the Oilers try and get? There's so many players out there, but personally, like the Mike Matheson one makes the most sense to me. If the money made sense, if the Oilers just had that much more salary, oh man, that would be like dream scenario. Just Mike Matheson, he would check off every single box. And even Rasmus Andersson, I know those are, you know, those are sexy names, and they are pretty pricey. You'd have to get creative. I don't know, man, but what are your thoughts? Drop a comment down below. I do read every single comment, so thanks for all the continued support, guys. I really appreciate it. We're on the road to 6K subs. If you can help me reach that by the end of the year, maybe 7K, 8K. Let's keep on going, guys. And I'm back, you know, recording full time here, so I can't freaking wait. I'll see you in the next one. As always, don't be average when you can be above average. Peace.